Hey, how's it gang? Evan here. I wanted to talk to you guys tonight about the COVID pandemic. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say COVID on YouTube, but my channel is so small, who cares? You know, I don't even know who's even gonna watch this thing. But here in Hawaii, where I'm at, the cases and deaths here in Hawaii are very, very low when taking into account the population. I mean, it's very, very small. Yet we are probably the most restrained state in the union right now. So currently we are in another 2-week stay-at-home order with caveats. Okay, so which doesn't really make sense to me. So we're at a stay-at-home order, but we can go to the beach. The last lockdown, which was just preceding this one, there was a stay-at-home order, and it was they say enforced that you couldn't go to the parks. So they had the parking lots all shut down and locked down, and people had to park on the highway, and it was okay for them to park on the highway, walk through the park to the beach and get in the ocean, and then come back, shower at the park, and then go to their car, relax. Even if they were in like a group of people, they weren't really being cited. Okay, so that just ended. They reinstated another, or not reinstated, they extended the stay-at-home order. So now the parks are open. You can go to the beach. All the hiking trails are open. Okay, so you can go hiking. You can do all these things, but you have to go alone. Okay, if you are in any kind of a group, you will be given a ticket and you got to go to court. Okay, so I have a friend of mine who went to the beach with his family in the car. They all got out, dispersed, went down to the ocean. Okay, after they got out of the ocean, they gathered back on the beach when they were approached and given citations. Everybody got one, so they all got to go to court. Doesn't make much sense to me at all. Meanwhile, the state is continued to be locked down. There are no tourists. Well, supposedly there's supposedly no flights coming in. I think there are flights, but they're not like packed flights, because there's a 2-week quarantine for tourists coming in, to the best of my knowledge. I went through Waikiki yesterday. I drove through, and what would normally be a packed like sidewalks on both sides of the main street in there, it's called Kalakaua, is empty. A lot of the stores now are being shut down. They're all boarded up and papered up and all that kind of stuff. And so the economy is really, really suffering over here. And I can understand why, like, you know, we're an isolated island in the middle of the Pacific, an isolated state, a group of islands, 7 islands, and we're isolated. Oahu, the main island which I'm on, has about 1 million people on it, and I can totally understand why they would want to limit the amount of flights in. What concerns me, or what frustrates me, is that this stay-at-home order is in effect, but yet we can still go to the beach, which I'm grateful for. We can go to the beach alone, we can go hiking alone, we can do all these things alone, which doesn't quite make a lot of sense to me. Meanwhile, they have testing going on, free testing going on, and so I recently put out a post in a COVID-19 Facebook group that's here locally, and I asked who thought they got this thing early, like already had it, and a bunch of people actually came out and said, yeah, I think I got it in January. Yeah, we got sick in February. A lot of people think that they had it already. So then I asked, is it possible to get tested for the antibodies? And it's possible to get tested to see if you had the antibodies, and it costs $125. But supposedly the antibodies only stay in your body for like a couple of months. Again, none of this is scientific. I've never heard of any of this stuff. Even with regards to mask wearing, I don't know if there's any solid science. It's airborne. This is an airborne thing, you know, an airborne sickness or an airborne, I don't know, pathogen. I don't know what the scientific term is. But even with that, there's not a lot of scientific data that shows that you cannot communicate this thing wearing a mask, or you'll be safe wearing a mask. It's more like a security blanket where people feel safe around each other. So you'll have groups, like lines of people waiting to go into a Costco within close proximity to each other. And then even in Costco, passing each other, some people wearing the mask low, some people have it around their chin. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. And yet you cannot go to the beach with a friend. You know, maybe if they said, hey, you can go to the beach with like a group of 3 people who you believe you trust. I don't know. None of this stuff is enforceable. So when they start giving out court dates and heavy fines and like possible prison time and stuff like that, to me it's just mind-boggling. It really doesn't, as a tax-paying American, owning my own business, free, it's really feeling like my freedom is being taken away. And I'm not crying about it. Like, I live my life anyway. I'll go to the beach or do whatever. It's just, I want to get your feeling on the whole thing, because surely I'm not the only one feeling this way. You know, so what are your thoughts? What are your opinions about this thing? Am I completely freaking nuts? Or like, is this kind of like if you're gonna have a stay-at-home order, enforce it for everybody. Nobody goes out, nobody comes in, nobody flies out, nobody flies back. The beaches are closed, shut it down completely for 2 weeks. And at that time, let's see how things wash out. Instead, people are free. Like, I can go out, like, film right now outside, and there's people driving around, there's people walking, running, biking, all kinds of stuff. So the stay-at-home order is only enforced, really, for people that go to the beach. Even a family will get the whole family will get citations. When there are other people, families and stuff, going to Costco and mixing and mingling, or it just doesn't make much sense. So I don't even know if I'm making any sense already, but you know, for you guys out there, let me know what your thoughts are. If you're in a different state and there's a stay-at-home order, how are things like there? Because I got friends in California, in Chicago, in other areas where it's, you know, Florida, where it's supposedly pretty hot, and there is a stay-at-home order in effect. But I mean, you got people outside and major protests and like going on and stuff like that, but yet, why aren't those people being shut down if this is such a threat? Mind-boggling to me. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Aloha.